everyone. Can everyone hear me? I'm so sorry for the delay. I had some technical issues, but they're sorted now, so I think we're good to go. I am going to get started just so as not to hold anyone back. I know it's a little bit late, so let me just open up my presentation and we'll get on with the demo. So for anyone who doesn't know, my name is Nicole and I look after DSA within Texthelp. I'm just going to come in and share my screen here so everyone can see. Okay, can I just check? Can everyone see my screen? Just I'm having some issues with GoToWebinar today. Now, folks, sorry about that. I think everyone can see my screen now, hopefully. So, like I said, my name is Nicole and I look after DSA within Texthelp. I'm sure I've met a good few of you anyway throughout the last couple of years. But that's my email address on the screen if anyone has any issues or any questions regarding what I'm talking about today, or whether it's read and write or any specific student queries. Just get in touch with me and I will be able to answer those for you. If you have any questions today, for anyone who's not familiar with GoToMeeting, there is a little chat tab down the bottom. So feel free to put any questions or queries in there as I go along, or the little question tab as well. And I will try to answer those as I go, or I'll pick them up at the end. So we're here today to look at EquatIO. And EquatIO is our new maths product. For anyone who hasn't seen it, it is a standalone product separate from read and write. So the essence behind EquatIO is making math digital. And it's essentially another toolbar, and it sits at the bottom of the screen with different functionality to allow students to input maths in different ways. And it was created by this guy. So this is John McGowan. He originally created a free Google add-on, which was called GMath, and it was available across all the Google platforms. So you have your documents, sheets, and forms, and you could just add that on and then insert maths using GMath. And we saw it and really loved it. And obviously we're very literacy focused, but maths is something that we've never branched into, but there isn't a lot of support out there for anyone, especially in higher education in the UK, doing maths. So we thought it was a good opportunity to add that to our software suite and change GMath into EquatIO, just so as to save any confusion from previous GMath users. So we turned it into EquatIO, changed some functionality, but kept all the good things that were already there that John had put so much work into. And then we made it compatible as well with read and write. So as well as being able to enter the equations in a digital format, students can now, if they have read and write as well, hear those equations read aloud to them and proofread with the rest of their work. So it means that they can go in and edit that as well and basically change it if then they feel that once they hear it, they have made a slight mistake. So the whole essence behind GMath originally, and now EquatIO, was to create a universal design for learning platform. So John was quite aware that although everyone was used to handwriting their maths, coming into the digital era, we needed to create a way to give people different options to input maths, because not everyone learns in the same way and processes information like everybody else. So there is 4 different input methods in EquatIO. So there is prediction, handwriting recognition, and speech input, and LaTeX as well. So those 4 different options are in there, and students can pick their favourite and obviously use that the majority of the time, but they can also chop and change between them. So depending on the scenario they're in, obviously speech input wouldn't be appropriate for in the middle of a lecture, but then if they're at home in their room, then they can use the speech input function freely. So there's all different options in there, and it really is personal preference depending on what way the student prefers to work. And like I said, it does math to speech as well, and that's when it's recommended with read and write. There is a math to speech element within EquatIO, which I will show you, but in order to have full documents proofread, the student will need read and write alongside EquatIO. And it doesn't just work for STEM or math subjects, it also works for STEM and chemistry. So really any degree which involves creating equations and inserting those in a digital format, EquatIO can help with. So I am going to just click on, just checking if there's any questions. And this is a new document that myself and our training manager, Jackie, has created. So I was getting a lot of questions when showing EquatIO from assessors asking how they would recommend it, what degrees it would be useful for, and also what learning difficulties it would be useful for. So we've decided to create this document. It won't take this format. I've just pulled the key information out of it for the purpose of these slides. And then we are going to post this out and also send a digital mail out as well in order for all the assessment centres to have a copy, and hopefully it'll make it much easier because I know maths is a bit of an unknown entity for everyone. So this will hopefully make it easier and lay it out. So what we've done at the top is basically include what the student will get whenever you recommend EquatIO. So it's available on all platforms. So it's the one recommendation. You will get the Windows, Mac and Chrome version, and you'll also then get the tablet and mobile apps as well, which I will show you when I come to the demonstration. And then within EquatIO as well, you just recommend that one product, but alongside that, there is a web app and a mobile app, and that's all included. So it means that you're not having to recommend different platforms or for the student, depending on what they need. They'll get access to everything within one bundle. And also the good thing is that any updates that are sort of put in throughout the student's course, they'll also get access to those as well. So it'll never be a case where the student is left behind or has a previous version of the software and they need to upgrade or pay for an upgrade or anything like that. They will always be on the most current version and get access to any new features, which if anyone has seen EquatIO maybe about a year ago before it was approved for DSA, then you will know that it was just a basic toolbar. There was 4 functions, which I mentioned before, in order to input maths, and then students would have got access to that. But then with the development of the web app and mobile, those students who would have received EquatIO maybe back in September will automatically get an update from that, and they'll get access to all of these, and then including the new screenshot reader, which I'm going to show for one of the first times today as well. And then the courses that are relevant for EquatIO, a lot of people were thinking just straight maths or actuary or accountancy, which of course it is perfect for, but because it's not just straight maths and it enables students to input the equations from STEM subjects and also chemical formulas, it really goes across the board in terms of what it can be used for. So we've tried to list a number of courses there. Some of them might be a bit surprising, like nursing, technology, and maybe wouldn't have been thought of before, business, for example. But we didn't want to give an exhaustive list. If there is something in there that you think maybe does need added, or there's something else that needs to go in, just let us know and we can add it in for you as well. But we try to give a bit of a broad spectrum of courses that EquatIO is able to be used for. So then moving on, there is the list of disabilities or learning difficulties that EquatIO can help with. So we thought it would be nice to just lay it out in a simple manner. And on the right hand side, you'll see there is the learning difficulty, and then on the left hand side, and then the right hand side, there is the list of features within EquatIO that will help with that disability. And you'll see that it ranges from obviously dyslexia, dyscalculia, and having any reading difficulties, but then also into anxiety, especially maths anxiety, stress, ADHD. And within EquatIO, then you have obviously the proofreading side of it in terms of recommended read and write, help with dyslexia, so they can now have the equations proofread as well as the literacy, and then edit those in a digital format, which is something new, and hopefully that'll help as well. And then with the new screenshot reader, it makes documents accessible, so it eliminates stress for students. If they are maybe handed something on an e-journal or a PDF, it means that they can now access those and edit the equations within those with EquatIO. And then move on, so there's hearing impairments, auditory learners, and visual impairment, visual stress. So obviously with the visual, the math to speech really helps because it actually will do dual highlighting the exact same as it would if it was words that it was reading out. So it really helps with proofreading and allowing users to focus, especially if they have a hearing impairment as well. The dual highlighting will allow them to track where it actually is and therefore be able to pick up the information better as well. The prediction and the pre-populated symbols, which you'll see, also allow students to pick those out visually, so they don't have to know all these complicated keyboard shortcuts in order to put in some of the equations that would be used in their degree in higher education. Don't worry about taking all this down. Like I said, it will be posted and emailed out to all the centres, but also you will get a copy of these slides, so it means you can come back and look over those at any time, and then hopefully whenever they are posted out, these little sheets can go up in the centre. It'll just be one-sided A4, and hopefully it gives all the information that you need in terms of recommending a maths product for a student. And also, if there's any of you who have actually recommended EquatIO, it'd be really great to know why, or for what student, like what they're studying and what they need it for, because I know there's a wide range, so it's hard to cover everything in that one document. And I don't get access to how assessors are recommending, so it's really useful for me to see how it is being used, and then if there's any improvements that would need to go in to maybe facilitate students more, then it would be great to hear feedback on that as well. So if you have any recommendations that you'd like to share, please get in touch. And now we're going to move on to the demo, so I'll just check if there's any questions so far, which there's not. Thankfully, everybody is able to hear me now, which is good. So I'm going to skip on to the little demo here. I know some of you have seen it before, but hopefully it has come on quite a bit since you would have last seen it, especially with the new screenshot reader mobile app. So I'm going to click into EquatIO here, and it's just sitting on my messy desktop, and I am then going to open Read and Write as well. So you'll see EquatIO just docks along the bottom there, and then Read and Write will dock up at the top so that you can use both in conjunction with each other. And then I'm going to open a little Word document. So I'll put my Read and Write up there. And as you can see, there's some stuff already on this document. And basically, that means this is a demo document which I put together for anyone who struggles with maths when demonstrating this product, because at the very beginning I wasn't as comfortable demonstrating it because I don't do maths and I did a degree in communications and PR, so I'm definitely not maths oriented. But with EquatIO, you'll see that it is really easy to actually pick up and insert equations and look like you can do maths, which is great. But I have this little document, so you'll see there is certain equations I use to demonstrate certain features, which you'll see when I begin. And there is also certain equations that I use in terms of showing the read aloud capability. For example, this one here, and it just shows them in a nice way. So if anybody wants a copy of that, I'll make sure that it's attached to a little email afterwards for you, and you'll have a copy. And feel free to share that for anyone who isn't comfortable with maths and just needs a few example equations to show the features and show the students what it can do. So I'm going to come down here and put my little mouse down here and come over and go into the options first of all. So there's really not as many options as in Read and Write. The only thing the student needs to be concerned with really is if I go in here and there's the maths option. So if you have a student who is doing straight maths or actuary, for example, they won't need the chemical equations and the formulas. They can just turn these off. And likewise, if they are doing a chemistry degree, just turn off the maths if they don't need it. I always have them all turned on just for demonstration purposes. So I'll keep those on for now. And then the student will sign in to EquatIO, unlike read and write. So it means it's attached to the student's email address and not the DSA computer. So with the multi-platform, it's really good. It means that if they go home for the weekend, for example, and on the off chance want to do some work, which I know is very unlikely, but the option's there for them, then it means that they can just sign in to whatever computer maybe their parents have and upload EquatIO onto that and work away without having to panic about getting back to uni or their student accommodation to finish their project that they're working on. So it's linked to their email address. I'm signed in with Google. There's other options. There's Outlook. There's social media platforms as well. It's quite easy for people just to sign in with Facebook or Twitter if they have it. So they're in there as well. And then this is just a license term. So it's quite simple and not too much training required. So I'll just close that down now. So once they're all set up and good to go, then it's just a case of working along the toolbar. So I am going to start from left to right and show you the equation editor. So this is the prediction element. And if I just start typing, you'll see if I start typing SQ, and maybe I need the square root or square, and I don't know the keyboard shortcuts or how to even insert any of these digitally, then it'll just bring up all the options it thinks I'm wanting to say. So I can pick up, I'll recognize a symbol and click that. Just continue typing. And you'll see if I type in CU, bring up all those for me as well. Equals 6. And that is my first little basic equation. So you'll notice as well that the X and the Y are maths. They're not the multiplied sign or X off a normal keyboard or the normal letter Y. So it's exactly how the student would handwrite that. So once I'm finished with that little equation, it's just a case of clicking Insert Math because it's all done in this document at the minute. And then it will just go into my Word document where the mouse cursor is. So it just means it'll appear there, and then it's ready for me to do my working out or continue writing equations or just continue with my essay. So I'm going to delete this little equation from the box now, but it'll still stay up in this document. And if I come over here, you'll see that if the student does have dyslexia, for example, and doesn't know how to actually spell some of the symbols they're trying to write, then they can come over here and pick and choose them. So for example, there's fractions in here. If I click that, I can just go in and change the letters to numbers, or I can also start typing fraction and it'll give me the line which I would normally just write if it was a piece of paper, and then I can just put those numbers in there as well. There's other little symbols in here like pi and some Greek symbols. Same over here. And then in here are some of the most commonly used equations for students studying maths. So these will probably be given to a student if they're starting a degree, or they'll be very familiar with these, but putting them into a digital format isn't going to be so easy because they're not just a one line, they are obviously a bit more complicated. So I always choose this one, which is the quadratic formula. So students can visually pick that up, edit a little bit. So I can just take that out. My prediction will still work, so that's that. And then, there we go. Just take a few things out like that. And then once I'm ready to insert it, again, I just click Insert Math. And I always show reading this equation in particular out because it is a bit more complicated than 2x squared plus 3y. So it's a bit more applicable for higher education students, and it means that they can see the capability of read and write alongside EquatIO and being able to proofread, and it won't just read the basic equations, it'll read the more complicated ones, of course, as well. So I'm going to click play, and then you will be able to hear it. It might be a little bit fuzzy, just it's my speakers on my laptop, but I'll click play here.
Minus b plus square root of b squared minus 4 over 2 plus 3.
And then that's that equation read out using read and write. And then, of course, if they do feel that they have made a mistake, for example, then it's just a case of clicking Edit Math once they've proofread it and think that it doesn't quite sound right, and editing it and then inserting it again. And that just means that it will replace that equation rather than duplicating it. So it's not a case of, let me see, there we go. So it's not a case of the equation appearing multiple times. As long as the student's clicked on the equation, clicks edit math, and then reinserts it, then it'll just replace the original one. Obviously, if they're doing their working out, then they'll just continue line by line and do it that way. So I'll delete that now and move on to this, which is LaTeX. So LaTeX is maths coding, if anyone's familiar with it. It's basically a way to type in maths, which is quite easy if you know it. So to show you what LaTeX looks like, I always use the preset equations again and this little one here. So if I click on that, then the LaTeX will appear on the left-hand side, and then how a student would actually write that on pen and paper will appear on the right-hand side. So that's in there now. This is what LaTeX looks like, and if people, well, students don't know it and aren't familiar with it, it's not to say that they have to learn it to use our software, but for those who are used to using it and are familiar with inputting it, then it's just in there and it's for those people to use, and it means that they don't have to start switching to different programs to use it. I'm just going to check, and I have a little question here, so I am going to just scroll down and look. So I'm going to read this out. So when inserting math from EquatIO into Microsoft Word, I have approximately a 4-second delay. It shouldn't be that much of a delay. It might just be your connection. It takes maybe 1 or 2 seconds, but 4 seems a little bit much. But I can certainly ask the technical team, so I'll find out for you and see if there's anything we can do, maybe to check your system to make sure that everything's compatible. But it does take a few seconds just to insert it, but maybe not as long as 4, so I'll double check that. So whenever you are inserting the LaTeX, then it's in here. Obviously, I have taken it from one of these preset symbols. However, the student can copy and paste it from an online source or maybe a university text, and then you can go in and edit it as well. So I've done this so much that I've sort of learned how to edit the LaTeX, which is quite good and looks impressive. So I am just changing those wee numbers around here, and you'll see that it just changes automatically then on the right hand side in my equation once I start changing them on the left hand side. And then once I'm ready, again, I can just click insert math, and it should just insert that where my mouse cursor is. So I think that did take about 4 seconds. But yeah, so it's in there now anyway. And then the student can just continue working and finish their project or coursework or whatever it is they're working on. So the next functionality is the handwriting recognition. I'm going to pull this up to give me some more room. Now, I'm using a mouse to do this, and I'm going to show this very quickly, but whenever I come to show the mobile app, you'll see that it's a much better use of the handwriting. But for now, anyway, I'm using my mouse, so you can see that if I just do my messy, trusty equation with my mouse, it's very messy, but EquatIO will pick it up. And if I make any mistakes, that is meant to be a 20, so it did get that right, which is quite good. And then that's my equation. Makes no sense on the left-hand side, but looks nice in a digital format on the right-hand side. Now, it's not time efficient for a student to use a mouse to input every single equation, of course, or they can use a touchpad, depending how good they are with it. But when using the mobile app, it turns your iPad or Android tablet or phone into a touchscreen, so that's the best way to insert it, using this functionality. I know when students are in a lecture, well, when I was studying, there was never any room for me to actually have a mouse or a table. It was just a laptop on the knee. So in a lecture, it's probably not that appropriate, but if they were at home and did want to just scribble something down with a mouse or on the touchpad, then that's fine. It just depends on the student. But I'll skip on past that and show you that later on the mobile app. So then the final input method is the speech input. So this is obviously, again, not appropriate for a lecture, but if a student is at home and just wants to turn this on, then it should pick up the English on that side. And then if I say 2x squared plus 3y equals 45, then it should pick that up on the other side for me. It did pick up a few little bits that I didn't say, but I can just come over and edit that really quickly. So it's a really good way if a student is just trying to think out loud, maybe in their room in university, then they can go in there and just turn that on and it'll pick it up pretty accurately. And if there is any mistakes or they want to add to it, then they can just come over here. And again, the prediction works. So they can just add to that equation like that and then insert it if they need to. So the final function on the Windows EquatIO toolbar is the graph editor. And this is why I always use this little 2x squared plus 3y equation for my equation editor. So I can click the graph editor and it'll bring me up a blank graph, or I can come into my equation editor and pull an equation that I have already inserted into my document, click Edit Math, and it will pull that back down into my box. So then it means that if I come over to the graph editor and click on that, then it'll automatically insert that equation into a graph and enable a student to visualize that on a line. So that's what it should look like for anyone who does want to have their equations played out visually on a graph. They can come in and then add to that. So if they want to add another expression, then they can just add more lines, or if they want to track a line, they can come in and do that as well. Or if they want to work out an equation, they're not quite sure what the x and y values are, then those little dots will appear and they can create a line based on those x and y values and go through the dots that way. Another little piece of functionality that is added, and it's not for everyone, so for anyone who has heard this, maybe turn your volume down at this point, but it is the ability to hear the line actually played out and the sound of that line. So for anyone who is actually doing physics or engineering, it allows them to hear the sound and the frequency of that line. It's not for everyone, but it's an option that's in there. So in order to do that, I click Alt-T. That turns the trace on, and I'm going to turn my volume down so the whole office can't hear it. And I'm going to click then H for here. Oh, maybe we're not going to do that. Let me just try that again. Hit A and then H. And that's what that line should sound like. And apologies if anyone didn't turn their volume down on time and had to hear that. So that is the graphs, and it's still down in this little box here. So it's not in my document yet. So I'm going to pull that back up, and then you'll notice that on this little bar here, it's changed to insert graph from math. So I'm going to click that, and then that's going to go into my document just underneath the equation. So I'll know that this little red line is actually 2x squared plus 3y equals 6. However, then if I want to add to that, and actually because I've added an additional line, I can go in to my equation editor again and remove that and put in what the blue line equals, insert the math, and it means that that will go into my document as well. So it means I can have all my equations, but the lines equal above or below like a little key, and then I can have my graph visualizing that underneath it. And then you can change and match the colors up as well. So if you want to change the colors of this equation to red and blue just to core them up a little bit and make it easier to read, then that can be done as well. I'm just going to double check. There's another little question coming here, so I'll read that out. So we have, so can I explain how to hear the frequency again? So in order to hear the frequency, if I just go into my graph, open that up, click on the cell over here, and whichever cell I'm clicked on, that is that's the line that will be played out. So if I'm on this one, it'll play that one. If I'm on that one, it'll play then the red one. So you click Alt-T on the keyboard, and that turns the trace on, and then click H, and then that plays the sound out for you as well. So that's how you do that. Now, I am going to just close this down and shut down my EquatIO toolbar. So sorry for another little question here. Math is not my strong suit. and my EquatIO demos are simplistic compared to yours. Have you created a demo video I can show students who want more in-depth demo? Like, I can indeed, yes. There's a number of videos on our YouTube channel, and you can go on and take those. There's actually some quite short ones, which is good as well. So they may be like 2.5, 3 minutes long, which is probably better when you're in assessment. I will dig those out for you and get them sent over. Believe me, my EquatIO demos were definitely not complicated when I first started. It just so happens that I've been doing them now since September, so I'm trying to pretend to look like a maths expert. Hopefully it's coming across that way. So I am going to close all these down now and minimize my EquatIO document. And I'm going to go into my Chrome browser, open a new tab, and I'm going to type in EquatIO. And you'll see that straight away it brings up EquatIO mathspace. Now this is the web app, which is also included in the EquatIO bundle. And once I open this, you will see how messy some of my blank spaces that are going to appear here look, like so. And the reason that it's like this is because when a student is, well, particularly a math student, they're working out their equations maybe on a piece of paper. Everyone's seen those big complicated whiteboards where the working out is all over the page and there's signs and symbols and arrows pointing, and that's how someone with a maths brain works. It's not nice and neat line by line when they're showing their working out. It's very visual, and it really is throwing all their thoughts down on a page, and this is the basis for EquatIO mathspace. So if I open this, it gives students a blank canvas just like a piece of paper but in a digital format, and allows them to show all their working out in the format the same as they would if they were handwriting it. And it will look messy and it will look like it's all over the place, but it means that they can show their working out in an organic way that lecturers can see it and they can give them marks for it just as if they would if it was handwritten. But it also means they can submit that if it is, for example, a dissertation or a proposal or a piece of coursework for a seminar class maybe. And it means that they can just put everything down on one page, and then at the end, if they do actually get the answer wrong, at least they can still get their working out marks. So this is a really nice way for students to do that in a digital format. If, for instance, they do just prefer to insert their equations line by line and show their working out that way, using the EquatIO on the desktop, that's not a problem either, but this is just another little option for them. So in order to use this, I'll show you that the toolbar along the bottom here is the same. There's 5 features I've just shown you with a little graph editor in the middle. Then we have the EquatIO mobile here. So when a student clicks that, they will see the little link to download EquatIO mobile, which can be uploaded on Android tablets or phones and Apple phones and iPads and any other smartphone really that you can upload the Chrome browser onto, which is free anyway, so it's a free app. So any smartphone that you can get the Chrome browser on, and also any Apple device, and then you just put this little link into either Safari or Chrome, and the student will then have full access to the mobile app as well. So they can use the mobile app to insert into mathspace, or they can use the normal EquatIO toolbar. And you'll see, in addition to the normal 5 input methods, there is 4 additional ones. So we have select a tool, which you can do, which is up here, or you can put in text mode. So I just start typing and then click insert maths. Then, even though it's not maths, it will go in up in the left hand corner. And I can just move that, and then I can maybe put an equation underneath it and solve that on the page. And then there's a freehand drawing, which is exactly the same as the handwriting recognition, except it's not done in the EquatIO toolbar and it's not turned into a digital format. It is simply put into mathspace directly. So if I get my little mouse, which is going to be a bit messy, and start drawing, then you can see that's meant to be 45 for anyone who can't tell. So then I can just insert that straight into mathspace and put all my things down there to show my working out. If the student maybe has a stylus, for example, then that would obviously work as well. But for now, it's just my mouse, and then I'll show you the mobile app here in a second. Then there is shapes. So like I said, if you do have a student who is trying to work out the angles in a triangle, they can just put that in there and they want to visualize it, and then they can use their little freehand drawing. There you go. It's meant to be 30. I'm not very good with this mouse. And then they can basically just visualize it and throw everything down so they actually can work out the equation around those then. There's loads of different shapes in there, so if they can't find one by scrolling down, because there's quite a lot, it's just a case of going in here and just clicking and finding a shape and searching for it, and that'll bring up what the student is looking for. So I'm going to open a little Google document here, which is the exact same as Microsoft Word if people aren't familiar with it. So it's just on the Google platform to show you the Google toolbar. And I am going to open my little EquatIO, which is sitting up here like that. So it's now open on my Google Doc. And then this is my Google Read and Write. So at the minute I have mathspace open. So I have this one, and then I have a Google Doc. And now I'm going to turn on my camera so that you can all see me using the mobile app. So just make sure everyone can see me. So hopefully everyone can see me. I'm now going to open my mobile app. So once I open it, you will see it opens like this. And you'll see that it basically puts in my Google Doc, which I have open, as well as my mathspace, which I have open. So I can insert into either of those documents that I have open on my laptop or desktop through the mobile app, which is where the handwriting recognition really comes into play and is much, much easier. So I'm going to go for my little Google Doc, and I am going to show you, this is the little EquatIO toolbar. And you'll see that you can take a picture, put it in with speech input or the handwriting, like I said. So I'll do the handwriting first. So if I start typing my little equation, let me see. And then I will show you. So I have just written that in and using my finger, which is so easy because students are always used to using their phones and iPads all the time. Obviously, if it's on an iPad, it means that there's a bigger screen, so there's more room for the student to put down all their working out in one go. But it's just a case of reinserting if there's not enough room on the phone screen for them. So once I've done that, I click the little green tick and I can save that as math or as an image. So I'm going to save it as math because it's going into a Google document, which could be maybe a dissertation. And then it will appear as math. And then I'm going to click this little blue over here. I can reach it. Yeah. And then you'll see on my screen that it will appear in my document. Now it's picked up the 0 there, not 100% accurately. So I am going to just click that equation, and once that's in the Google Doc, and you can do the exact same in Word, it's just not quite in there yet. It'll be another couple of weeks, but the students will get access to that anyway as soon as it's released. So if I'm in my Google Doc now and I just click Edit Math, it'll pull that equation, which was originally an image, and put it in here and allow me to go in and, let me see, it's just taking its time. And it should let me edit this equation, but it's not going to play ball today. So I'll try and add. There you go. So we can add to the equation once it's in there, and it's just not quite working how it should. No. So we can add to that equation anyway once it's in there, and it means that I can then reinsert that and have it read out like that, and then just delete my original if I've added to it, and then I'll just delete that out. So I have inserted that using my mobile device and put it into a Google Doc. So it's really easy to do that whenever you have your finger and it's not a case of trying to use a mouse. So it's great for lectures if the student has their phone or their iPad with them and they can just scribble down an equation or solve an equation that the lecturers maybe put up on the board. And then I'm going to go back into my math space, and I am going to show this. So if I go into my math space, then it means I will be able to select my camera, which I have, hopefully everybody can see it. So I'm going to select my camera, and I have this little triangle, which I very prepared drew earlier. And I am going to take a picture of that. So it's an image. And this time there's the image. I'm going to save it as an image after clicking the green tick. And then the blue button again. And that will go straight into my math space. No, it won't. It will go into my Google Doc because I clicked the wrong one. But that will go in there then as an image as well. And if I wanted to put that in math space, then I should have clicked the math space one and it would have went in there. The great thing is though, whenever inserting it into math space, you don't need read and write to hear it read aloud. So if I do, just for example, click my math space and do the handwriting. So I'll do a very basic one. And that is the equation in there. And I will save that as math. Let me see. And then it will go in as math into my math space. Take that off. So it's appearing up here in my math space, and you'll see that automatically it actually gives me the option to hear it read aloud within that before inserting it into any documents. So I can just click play and it will read that out for me as well within the
Reader 2 plus 3 in denominator.
So hopefully you all heard that. So it means that then if I did insert that and it has made a mistake, I can click edit math and pull that down there, change it, and then it'll turn to replace math. And then that will just replace within my document. So I'm just going to turn my camera off now because that's that little part over. And then it's in there and it means that I can insert that into any of my documents just by coming over here. So once all my working out is done in MathSpace, I can click download as a PNG and it will just download as a file and it will appear, mine always appears black for some reason, I'm not sure why, but it does go the white whenever I paste it. So if I click copy and then open my original Word document, which I've been working on, and just click enter and I'll insert that up here. Click paste and then that is my math space into my document, whether it be maybe a dissertation or a piece of coursework. So it means that the student can show all their working out, like I said, and it will look messy just like it would on a piece of paper if they were handwriting it. And then the lecturer can see all their working out as well. And you can insert graphs and everything in there just the same as EquatIO. So now it's in the document and can be marked. So the final thing I'm going to show is if I come into my Chrome browser again, and I'm going to close off my math space and stay in my Google Doc. So this was a little feature that, like I said, it's the first time I've been showing it this week, which is great. So I'm going to just remove all this. And it is the screenshot reader within the EquatIO toolbar. It just got added on Tuesday into the Google version, so it'll be in the Windows version in the next few weeks. So if I just go in, for example, I don't have any university maths text, but if I just go in and type in maths equations into Google, get some images up of maths equations. This is an image, but if I then come up to my Chrome toolbar and click my little EquatIO app, you'll see that a mini EquatIO will appear up in the corner and you'll get access to the screenshot reader. So I just click on this, like that. Then it will allow me to screenshot that. And then it will let me hear that equation read aloud. Now that is still an image and it's still online. So whether it be an e-journal or a PDF maybe the student has, it still remains there. But if I click in these little more options and if I click copy LaTeX and then go back into my Google document and open this and paste it within LaTeX, then the LaTeX will appear over here and the maths will appear over here. And at that point, then I can insert that into my document and it will appear just the same as an equation that I have handwritten. And then if I want to hear a proof for it again, I can just open my read and write, click play, and it will read out that equation there as well. So it means that it makes that into an accessible format, whereas it used to be an image and not editable. That can be fully edited now, which is great. And also if it was maybe a PDF, so if I go into my little Google Drive and if I just search for some PDFs, then it should bring me up. This is a little agenda, so there's some numbers on there. So the same thing, I can grab the little screenshot and just put this around those numbers and it will play those out for me as well. So that can be 8.45 minus 10.15. So that will work on any unaccessible document within higher education university. So the student can then read any maths equations and also pull them and edit them. If I go back to my images and just close this down, I can also just copy this image and put it into a document like this. And then I can use my screenshot reader. So if I do just insert an image directly into my document, I can select the screenshot reader, grab this, and within the document, it will then stop that. So it will give me the additional option to edit with EquatIO. And if I just click that, it will bring that in there and I can take this out, edit a few things with my prediction, and then once I'm ready, I can insert the math and it will appear in my document in an editable format, and I can either keep the image or I can just delete it like that and have my equation. And then again, with read and write here, proofread again. So folks, that is EquatIO in a nutshell. I'm going to give you a few seconds there and see if there's any questions. I understand if some of you have to go. I know it was scheduled for an hour. But if anyone does have any questions, please feel free to write them in the little question or chat box now, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. Okay, folks, so I can't see any questions coming through just now. Hopefully everyone enjoyed that and found it useful. But if you do have any questions separately, please feel free. Like I said, this is my email address and feel free to get in touch. And if anyone as well wants a copy of the software or wants me to come out to the centre and do a bit more of a demonstration to anyone who couldn't make it today, please get in touch and I'll send over copies and obviously arrange to come and visit as well. Thank you so much for joining, and apologies again for the technical fault at the beginning of the webinar. Enjoy the rest of your day and sunshine for the rest of the weekend. Bye.